Hey, Mo citizens, Model World here, back again with some more worldly happenings. So today we're going to talk about the interview that was conducted by Oprah. As we know, the interview that I'm currently talking about is the one with Meghan and Harry, and they were discussing their experience as working royals. Okay, I think it was for like 2 years, if I'm not mistaken. So Oprah emphasized that nothing was off the table. But we're not going to discuss everything because I will be here all day. What we're going to discuss is the main claims that were made against the firm / the institution, whatever you want to call it. Them over there. So, Meghan claimed that she had no support. That she couldn't visit friends. She was locked up in the house for months on end. And when her mental health issue arose, that there was no help. There was no help for her. There was a lot of rumors against her, you guys. I've seen the comparisons between Kate and her. And I just don't understand. They just don't like her. Maybe because she's American. I don't want to say it's because of that. I think it's because she's American mostly. But they don't like her. They was hounding her in the news. But it's mostly UK media for some reason. It's so totally different than United States media. But let me continue. And so they said she didn't have anyone to teach her the proper protocols to guide her in this new life she was starting. She started as I think she said she was a waitress first. Then she became an actor. And then she became a royal, so she needed somebody to guide her. She didn't have help for that. So that was one of the things. She had no support. And then Oprah emphasized, she said, were you silent or were you silenced? I was like, Oprah over here speaking words, okay, when she said that. So she said she felt silenced. So the reason why I think she didn't really, in the interview, she said that she didn't do no research when she met Harry. She didn't do no research on him. She didn't do no research on the family, on what it meant to be a part of the family. She did no research, which was a mistake on her part. You should always research somebody. You never know what you could be getting into. She didn't know, and look, but that's hindsight is 2020. But let's continue. She said she did no research, and I think she had just did a little more soul searching. She would have realized that her morals, her values that she had, didn't align with the morals and values of the institution. So an example of this is when she said she went to them to get mental help. And I wholeheartedly believe that she thought that they would really help her. Like, it would be like, you know how when you tell somebody, oh, I'm suffering from this, and they're like, oh, you should get help, you should get a therapist. Here, these are all the therapists I know, here's all the resources you can have to get help. She thought they would give her resources. She thought that they would jump to help her. Because in America, mental health right now is very important now. People see mental health as self-care. People see right now, mental health is like a just as important as a physical ailment in America right now, which is great, which is awesome. But she didn't realize that the institution saw her mental health more as a hindrance to the monarch, because over there, their morals, their values is the monarch above everything else. I don't know if I'm explaining this right. To them is the queen above all, the monarch above all. They put basically the institution above everybody else. And her having a mental illness, I guess would have been bad press, bad publicity. I don't know. I don't see how that would have been as bad. It just would have been seen. Maybe they didn't want the more negative. It's not negative. She really needed the help, but to them, maybe negative attention. So once she saw that would have been I don't know why that wasn't a red flag for her. Once she saw that they weren't ready to help her like that, I guess that should have been like a really, really red flag. Especially when she said she needed help getting guided through the process of being a royal. She didn't know. That should have been a red flag. But you know what? I'm not gonna tell you I wasn't in that situation. You don't know how you would have acted. But okay, so she said she felt silenced. All that happened. They weren't helping her. So let's go on to the next. Let's talk about Archie, baby Archie. She was pregnant with him at the time. She was pregnant with him. I don't understand. They were even talking about this woman when she was pregnant. They did not like her. They were talking about why she had her hands on the. Go look at the articles. So, but the thing, the points I want to discuss about Archie is they were worried about how dark Archie was going to be. Which I don't know why. That baby is white. Like, she is half black. I don't get what they thought the baby's going to look like. What did they think that child was going to look like? He looks white. Like, his dad is a full white person. His mom is a half white person and half black person. There was no way, if anybody know how genotype, phenotype work, that child was going to come out looking like a black person. That was a huge red flag, because apparently I think they came up before her mental health crisis, before she asked for help for her mental health. So I'm thinking, girl, ooh. And the thing is, okay, let me keep going about the issues about Archie. So they were worried about his skin tone. They didn't have security already because apparently they weren't important enough. I don't know what was going on around there. They didn't have security. So the child wasn't going to get security. The child wasn't going to get security because the child was not going to have a title. The child didn't have a title because they just changed the conventions, a law or something, where he wasn't going to have a title. They mysteriously changed his title when the first, he only mixed, 75%, he's mixed. So when the first mixed child, like he's mixed, that's, when the first mixed child was just they decided to change the conventions all of a sudden. So yes, that was a huge red flag. So let's go through the thing. They was worried about his skin. The parents themselves, Meghan and Harry, were worried about them not having security, and the child wasn't having security. So that's why they didn't take a little cute photos. You know how they usually have a little cute photo? They didn't have a cute photo because they was worried they didn't have security. If I was them, I wouldn't do that either. That's how you get shot. Shot in the head, you know. Look at what happened over here in the United States. All these people that be done. Lack of security. Okay, so Archie couldn't get a title. They changed the law so he wouldn't get the title. And I'm thinking, you guys, like, if I was a parent, I would be so mad that they was treating my child like this. But this is why I probably don't want to have kids, because that's just some injustice right there on your part. And she has to act civil because she's a part of it, but at the same time, they're ostracizing her at the same time. Like, they're like, oh, you're a part of the group, but you're not a part of the group. I think they were using her for more as a, to say, oh, yeah, we're inclusive, but they're not really inclusive, you know? And so, hey, they on that. Girl, I would have just took the hint and minded my own business. And I guess that's what they did. Took the hint, minded their own business, and left. But what I will say is that they steadily throughout the interview, Meghan and Harry were saying how they thought that the Queen didn't know how they were getting treated, how the Queen, she was innocent. And here's where I call baloney on that. Because, no, if the Queen can drive a car, if the Queen is supposed to be who's running everything around here, if the Queen is supposed to be remotely involved, she should have knew how you was getting treated. Now, what I think was happening was, y'all was talking to the Queen about what was happening, y'all was coming to the Queen, or maybe Meghan was coming to her Queen what stuff was happening to her, and the Queen was using the information against you. I think the Queen was in on it. Hey, just because you're an old lady don't mean you can't be mean. I don't care. Now, it would not be right for them to say it in the interview. There's no evidence. I wouldn't say it in the interview. So that's smart on their part. So I guess, but I think the Queen did it. I hope they got it in their mind. They thinking, I hope they a little bit of suspicion of the Queen. They need to. Don't tell her everything. She might be a loose mouth grandma. But let's go. And we're going to continue. We're going to talk about the strategy in which the interview was conducted. The strategy in which the interview was conducted. It was a good interview. I watched the whole thing. Ads made me mad though. But I watched the whole thing. So, Meghan was more reserved with her information. She didn't really spill all of the tea. She didn't name no names that much. I think she named, she only told about like what happened when that whole cake crying incident. She told the real truth about what happened or whatever. But she didn't really give no names, which was smart because people already were making her out to be the villain. In the media, it would not have benefited her to point fingers at all these people. People would just say, oh, she's just mad because people are telling the truth. It was smart on her part for her not to drop names. Now, Harry came out and he spilled the tea, which was smart because you want to know why? This is his birthright. This is his birthplace. This is his family. You snitch on your own family. You should call out the stuff at your own family. Your family is toxic. Call out the stuff that's toxic. Now, I'm not going to say the whole institution or the whole firm is his family. That's more of a business. That's more of a government. But I will say his family is a part of it. And so, like if you're married and you have problems with the in-laws, you as the daughter-in-law, you as the son-in-law cannot talk to the in-laws. You let their biological daughter or son tell them what's going on. And that's what Meghan did, which is good on her. She let Harry spill all the beans and spill out names. Harry was even throwing shade to his daddy. He was like, my daddy won't take my calls. Yes, he talking about it was funny. That man was throwing major shade. I was like, ain't you mad at your dad? you got some issues with daddy? Okay, let me stop playing. But yeah, so that was a good strategy on their part, letting Harry spill all the tea. And another thing we should talk about is Oprah. Oprah was a little messy in this. She was hecka messy in this. She kept trying to say, oh, so you don't, why would they do that to you? Why would there be a difference? She was trying to get Meghan to say that it was racism, but Meghan would not say it. I was like, girl, you don't go on and sit I don't want to say it, I'll tell on somewhere. But it was a smart idea for her not to say it. It was smart for her not to play the racist card, not to play the bigotry card, because they swear people who with an ounce of black in them always play it. And you know what? She let her husband play it, the white man. She let her husband say it. And you know what? That was a smart thing to do. Be strategic about when you snitch. It's not really snitching. It's more like a whistleblowing, because that sounded horrible what they did to them. Didn't it though, y'all? So, all in all, I am not shocked about the information that was spilled in that interview. It was fun to watch. I will say when she was saying that, when Megan was saying, I don't understand why they don't want a person of color to look, a person of color to be in here. When she was talking about, they were showing pictures of all these dark-skinned little girls compared to her. I'm like, they trolling now. Come on now. But you know what? that was fun. Throw a little ha 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 funny up in the interview. You know, funny. That was funny. You got me. But I wasn't surprised about what happened in this interview, you guys. I wasn't surprised about that they was racist or whatever. Or she was, that it was just stuff going on. They doing stuff to her. What I was surprised about was how much she didn't know. Like, I'm thinking you didn't have no inkling that this was not, that they was gonna be maybe a little smidge racist. They are one of the oldest colonizers of them all. They're older than America. You know what I'm saying? America was colonized by them. And you thinking they still don't have that colonizer mindset? They're still technically, you know, under a monarchy. Like, yeah, I don't see how she didn't even think like a smidge. Like, but yeah. You guys, tell me what you think about this. Tell me in the comments. You feel sorry for her? You think she's lying? Was this interview funny to watch? Did you just enjoy it? Was it just a little hot mess for you just to watch and get your mind off things? But okay, you guys. Talk to you guys later.